Hello and welcome back to Distro Dive, or welcome technically, this is the first actual episode. This is episode 1 of Distro Dive, and today we're distro diving into Linux Mint 21.3. So, as you probably realized, this is my computer. This is my actual desktop. It has Ryzen 5 2600 and 8 gigs of DDR4 memory and a GTX 1650, the 4GB version. And that is the machine that I use for basically everything. As you can see over here, oh wait, I haven't changed my mouse, it's still over there, fuck. So, as you can see over here, if I go to System and About, this is Fedora Linux 40 Silverblue. Yeah, I love Silverblue. This is my favorite distro of all time. And yeah, I have no issues about it. I just love using it. I love it. That reminded me of Tim Cook actually, when he said that he loved the iPhone 15 Pro Max. But yeah, I absolutely love this distro. But today we're gonna be installing Linux Mint 21.3, the Cinnamon edition. If we go over to downloads, this is the ISO that downloaded the Cinnamon edition. I did not download the Edge ISO because that's sort of the default, and same applies the way I didn't download the XFC or the Mate edition. So yeah, I already went ahead and downloaded the ISO and put it into this flash drive which has Ventoy in it, and the reason that I did that is because I don't want to spend ages downloading it, because I am live right now over on Distro Dive Vault. You can see me, hello, you can see the chat, and you can join us as well if you want to. You can go over to youtube.com/@DistroDiveVault, where you'll be able to watch me record all the videos live. Perfect, I know. But anyway, today we're gonna installing Linux Mint, and let me just make my hard drive ready. I need to remove my mouse from here and I'll put it onto the USB 2 slot, because I'm not gonna be nuking my internal hard drive actually. Let me just give it a reboot. No, I'm gonna be installing everything on an external hard drive. Yeah, let me just go to BIOS. Let's see, can I make it? Please, 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 please. Yay. And we're gonna load the USB disk. Perfect. And we're gonna boot, where is it? Linux Mint 21.3 Cinnamon 64-bit, boot in normal mode. And yeah, start. So, why this is booting? Why am I not installing on my main M2 SSD? Well, because I still want to have my Fedora. I will be using Linux Mint for 99% of the time, but I still want to have a Fedora. Is that too much to ask for? And you can really see it right now. Yeah, that's the Linux Mint logo. It's amazing. Oh, my camera has a really hard time right now. Wait, it's working now. I'm not sure what happened there. My camera completely forgot how to focus. But yeah, this is taking some time to boot actually. So while this is booting, I will be installing onto this little SSD drive that I have. Why? Because I have it and it's available to me. It currently has Windows 11 installed just because I needed Rufus for something, but I also installed Windows 11 onto this MacBook using UTM, so that I can use Rufus if I want to, so I don't need the Windows installed at all. So we have an update here. We got a blank screen. Yeah, truly fascinating stuff. Oh, we got a cursor, let's go. I think that it has a boot chime, you can call it, a startup sound, but I'm not wearing my headphones right now, so I won't be able to hear it, but here we are. And this is the Linux Mint desktop, which works pretty much perfectly out of the box. We have my mouse working and everything. So before we install, I'm gonna plug in my my SSD. As you can see here, it's a Win to Go, and we're gonna go over to Gparty and we're going to format it. So it should be this one here, NTFS, yeah, Win2Go. This is a 120, I think, gigabyte flash drive, and yeah, let's focus. I'm not sure why it forgot how to focus, but anyway, I'm gonna go over to device, create partition table. Oh, it's active. No, that's not it. Unmount, perfect. And we're gonna go to device, create partition table, and we're gonna do GPT and apply. It will erase everything, and perfect, unallocated. That's perfectly fine because we're gonna do a custom install. So I'm not really sure why I already formatted it if we're gonna do a custom install, custom partition. But anyway, let's open up the Linux Mint Ubiquiti installer. And I hate this cursor. I hate it. I'm gonna talk about it later, but I hate it already. And oh my, this might be a USB 3.1 Gen 2 flash drive, but it's taking ages to do anything with Linux Mint. And this is not because of Ventoy. Ventoy is amazing. It's actually because of Linux Mint. Okay, probably not. But yeah, Linux Mint takes a lot of time to boot. But anyway, here we are on the Ubiquiti installer, and I'm gonna choose English, obviously, for the language. I'm gonna hit continue, and English US is perfect for the keyboard layout. And now it should ask us about drivers, I think, first. Yeah. Oh, codecs. I'm sorry. Let's install the multimedia codecs, and we're gonna hit continue. It's preparing everything. The installer has detected the following disk have mounted partition. Do you want the installer to try to unmount the partitions of this disk for continuing? If you unmount it, you will not be able to create. Okay, no. I don't want to unmount my actual flash drive that I used to install this. No, obviously I don't. Now, this is not a Linux Mint issue. This is an actual, like, Ventoy, technically, issue. But anyway, so this computer has no detected operating systems. It has Silverblue installed. I hope that I didn't manage to nuke it already. Let's go to files. Anyway, I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna hit continue. And here it is, Butterface. This is my actual Fedora install, which I won't touch. And I'll go all the way down here to SDC. Yeah, device for boot manager. Oh yeah, that's right. JMicron generic, that's it. Last time that I did it, because I practiced it, not the actual installation, but the whole format of the show, I selected the auto installer, which nuked my grub straight out of Fedora and installed this one. So I had to reinstall Fedora, yay! But anyway, let's start by creating a 500 megs EFI boot partition, EFI system partition. That's about it, yeah. Okay, so we're creating it. Let's go down here. Here it is. And then I think that I'll make a swap partition, although we technically don't really need it. I'll make 8,192 megs. I think that's 8 gigabytes. I'm not really sure actually. Haven't thought about it in ages, but I'm pretty sure that's 8 gigs. I won't search it, it's probably fine. So swap area, okay. And the rest of it, we're gonna create full, and we're going to probably ext4. I won't install using Butterface, just ext4 journaling system, and it's gonna be root. Perfect. Okay, so we can't do anything about this. No, we can't mount this. No. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. Anyway, EFI, perfect. Swap, yes. I hope that I didn't do anything with this. Anyway, EFI, swap, ext4, mount as root, JMicron generic, yes. Alright, so we're ready for the install. Let's cross our fingers and hit install now. So the partitions have changed, okay. the following partitions are going to be formatted. Partition 1 as ESP, perfect. SDC, yeah. Partition 2, swap. Partition 3, ext4. Alright, that seems good enough for me. Let's hit continue. And I live in Athens, Greece. Yes, continue. My name is actually me. And my computer name is going to be Minty, because I like that name. Username me. Let's type in a super secret and super secure password. What? That's not a short password. That's not a short password. Anyway, we're gonna not encrypt my home folder, and we're gonna go with require my password to log in. Continue. And so hopefully now installation has started, and we'll be copying files over soon. It's taking ages already. I've been recording for 20 minutes and streaming for almost an hour. Wow. Oh, finally, we are copying files. Do we get a slideshow or something? No? Hello? Okay, so I guess we don't get a slideshow or anything. It was. Oh, here we go. Welcome to Linux Mint. Yay! So I'll cut back to when this has finished installing. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Installation has finished. Let's go ahead and reboot right now. And I really want to go and check my BIOS to see if it has corrupted anything. So we should get remove the flash drive or the remove the installation medium, then press enter. You can't see it because my iPhone doesn't really want to work. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so I'll just remove the flash drive and I'll just do this again. Whoop. Perfect. And I'll press enter and we'll go back into my BIOS to see what the hell it has done. So if we go over to BIOS, I still see a Fedora one, which is good. So I'll change the boot option 1 to Fedora Intenso PCIe, perfect. And the second one to Intenso PCIe, third one to Ubuntu, and I'll go over and save and exit the setup. And then I'll just go back into BIOS in order to boot into Linux Mint. Here we are, and this is Linux Mint. I really want to go with Wayland, but it's experimental, so I'll go with X11. I'm gonna type in my super secret and secure password, press enter, and it should log us in a lot faster than it did last time. Yeah, here we are. Welcome to Linux Mint. And actually, the first thing that I'll do is I'll launch the driver manager because I want to get the NVIDIA drivers because we shouldn't have them by default. Yeah, we don't search for NV, we get nothing, and NVIDIA automatically installs. Yeah, here we go. And installs an NVIDIA settings package or something. It found it. It's a GeForce GTX 1650, and I'm gonna get the latest one, which is 5. What? Alright, so we have 2 of them. What? Oh, that's 470. Alright, I'm gonna do 545, which is the latest one, and I'm gonna hit apply changes, and I'll type my super secret and secure password. Don't steal it from me, basically. Yeah, press enter, and we should start the download. Any second now. Oh, here we are, downloading drivers. I forgot that this is how Ubuntu works. But yeah, so far so good. So what I'll do now is I'll wait for this to finish, I'll reboot, I'll install OBS, and I'll immediately start recording from here the rest of it. So you won't have to see me doing this over and over and over again. Be right back. Hello, so welcome back to Linux Mint. As you can see, I just installed OBS Studio. It's been a few minutes, and for some reason the update manager also popped up. I'm not sure why this happened during my setup of OBS, but anyway. So welcome to Linux Mint. Do not show this dialog at startup, I don't need it. And I am gonna go into desktop colors. This is the first thing that I do every single time that I install Linux Mint. I like to change this to this pinkish color. Although, you know what, since this is Linux Mint, I think that we should change it to the legacy, like mint color. Let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, I like it. Although, I think I prefer mint X. No, that's not. Mint L. Like the OG version. I'm not really sure why, but I just like it, okay. But you know what? No, let's have the modern look. I won't change to dark mode yet, but I'll probably change the cursor. White, probably. Yeah, I'm not sure why. I just hate the default cursor of Mint. Now, that's the best thing about Linux in general and Mint, is that we can actually change it. We can go to, the advanced settings and then mouse pointer and change it. And the same applies for everything. Maybe I want the OG buttons or something. I don't. But yeah, that's the best thing. That's no hate to the developers or the creators, the designers of that cursor. I just don't like it. That's about it. If you like it, go ahead and use it. That's perfectly fine. So now, with that out of the way, I won't care about system snapshots because I don't use them. Update manager, I'll come back later. And that's about it basically. I'll just go to the system settings manually through here. And I'll change the backgrounds to my favorite Linux Mint background of all time. I love this. FX. I'll probably use the fly animation for minimizing. No. What is it called? Fade? No. None. No, traditional. Perfect. And yeah, I won't bother about changing the animation speed. I like it the way it is. Themes, we've already been there. Then account details, actions. I didn't know that you can actually change the right-click menu. That's perfectly... that's amazing, honestly. You can install new ones. It has to refresh and everything, but that's nice. Wow, take screenshot with a new folder, restart Cinnamon. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Applets, I don't really use applets, so I won't be bothered. Let's go over to the desktop actually. And no, that's not where I want to go. No extensions. General, that's it. Enable the timer. 6 seconds is perfectly fine. This is Cinnamon, yes. I don't like hot corners on any OS, so I won't be bothered. Languages, everything is pretty much fine. Preferred applications, we haven't installed anything, so I won't be bothered. And screensaver, I don't like screensavers, so I'm just gonna do never. And look, yeah. Startup applications, no. Windows, yes, I want it to be on the left. And why is that inverted? Typically the minimize button is in the middle. Anyway, and let's just location of key, open Windows, center, obviously. And with Alt Tab, let's do cover flow or timeline. What is the best one? Timeline, yeah, I like it. And I'm gonna go over to keyboard because I want to add a new layout. Obviously, I want to add Greek. You know, I'm Greek. I might want to type something. And I'm gonna go and switching to another layout. I want Windows plus space. That's the default already. Perfect. Let's try it out. Yep, it works. Down here. Perfect. And power management, never. Do not turn the display off. I hate it when it happens. Yeah, so system info, Linux Mint 21.3, Cinnamon version 6.0.4, kernel 5.15, that's extremely old. But hey, there's a new beta of Linux Mint out, so it will jump up to 6.1. And I have 1.3 terabytes of storage, perfect. And we're using X11 sadly. So, firewall. Let's say, do we have it enabled by default? No, I rarely ever use a firewall if I'm being honest, and I probably won't use one. So over on the login window, the only thing that I like changed is this, draw a grid, and yeah, that's about it. And yeah, so I have basically configured everything the way that I like it. Yeah. Now, if this was a bit too fast for you, then that's because I've used Linux Mint a bajillion times and I already know what I like. On other distros it won't be that quick, but yeah, that's pretty much what I like. Let's go over to the system reports and clear some stuff out. And yeah, let's run the system checks and everything. I won't set up a system restore utility because I will only be using Linux Mint for like 2 weeks. So yeah, let's quit out of that. And the update manager, it has an update already. No, I want to switch to a local mirror first before applying that update, as I do always. So I'm gonna do probably the Hellenic Telecommunications Organization. Yes, that's the first one. And then for Ubuntu, I'll probably use the Otenet one. This one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's refresh everything and let's make sure that we don't drop frames because we're still live as we're recording all of this. So yeah, we're downloading from ubuntu.otenet.gr. I've never been to that website. I'm not sure if it has a website or anything, or if it's just a domain. Let's try this. ubuntu.otenet.gr. Oh yeah, it actually has. It's an index, but nice. And so now we can go ahead and apply the actual update. And yeah, so in terms of programs that I need, we already have LibreOffice installed, and we already have OBS. I just downloaded it, obviously. So there's not much that I actually need right now. Yeah, Linux Mint has an amazing selection of tools available by default, which is something that I love. It has a USB image writer, which I've used many times and I love it. And yeah, it has like a lot of apps. Yeah, this might be like something that not a lot of people love because it's a bit bloated, you can say, but I like it. I like having apps by default. So let's just make sure that we have the most recent version here available for update. Yeah, typically I would install DaVinci Resolve right now, but I already have it, essentially. I'll just go over to my network and connect to my NAS. Let me just type in my login info. So, yep, here we go. I'm gonna go to my home folder over here and video editing. Yep, we have everything here. So I'll be ready. Do we have celluloid? Yeah, we have celluloid. So there's not really anything to do right now because actually there is. I'm gonna go over and install the latest version of DaVinci Resolve, which I'm not sure which one it is actually. Let me just go over to here and DaVinci Resolve. Obviously 19 because that's the beta release. 18.6, alright, perfect. So I already have 18.6.5 available to me. So I'll just copy this over to my downloads folder. And I don't really like this copy dialog. macOS has the same. I don't like it. My personal favorite one is the cked one, and the second one is the GNOME one. But it works perfectly fine. So let's just eject this. And I'm going to extract here. So we're extracting 2 files remaining. This shouldn't take all that long. And it's 5:30 right now. Why is this archive taking ages to extract? I don't know. Alright, it extracted finally. And I can just run this. And I need to install some stuff. 1 second. And now that I think about it actually, I also want to get a few apps. A few like command utilities also, you can say. Wait, I also want to install. I'm not sure if FastFetch is actually available by default on Ubuntu. It's not. Perfect. And I also want to install the fish shell. Oh wait, install fish. Because that's the actual shell that I use on a daily basis on all my systems. So I'm going to launch fish. I'm going to do set -u fish underscore greeting. I can't type today as it turns out, and I'm gonna do, by the way, I use mint because let's see if this worked. It's giving me an error. Oh yeah, it worked perfectly. And then I'm gonna do fish underscore config, and I'm gonna change the color scheme to this one because I love it. And I'm also gonna change the prompt to the arrow one because again I love it. Perfect. And now I'm gonna go over and install 2 programs, FastFetch and App Image Launcher. So now we can go ahead and do a fast fetch, and we have, it's completely corrupted. We have Linux Mint 21.3 Virginia, and yeah, it has a lot of pre-installed packages, that's for sure. And it uses around 18 gigs on a fresh install after I installed a ton of packages. So it's not that bad. Although by a ton, I mean 8 flatpaks, but that was around 5 gigs. So we can say around 10 gigs for a fresh install of Linux Mint. So before we do anything, I'll go over and do cSS-s. I'll do /bin/fish in order to change my default shell over to, what? Where's fish? User bin fish. Alright. User bin fish. Perfect, it worked. So now we've downloaded everything. I'll just go over to my downloads folder and I'll install App Image Launcher with a GDB package installer. It shouldn't take a lot of time. So I'll have to reboot for the changes to be applied actually. So before I do that, I'll go ahead and actually install DaVinci Resolve, because now it should work. Welcome to App Image Launcher. Ask me whether to move new app image to central location. Okay. Run once because this is just the installer, we don't need to integrate it to our system. I agree to everything and start the installation. So, and with that, DaVinci Resolve is installing and I'm 1000% sure that's gonna work. So, DaVinci Resolve has completely finished installing, so we can just go ahead and delete this and this, because I don't like desktop shortcuts. They killed Nick's father, as you know. And so with that, the initial portion of this Distro Dive has come to an end. I will make sure to update everything, reboot, make sure that everything works, and then I'll be using it for the next couple of weeks. I'll live stream with it, some games, I'll play, I'll do stuff, and I'll edit, all that good stuff. And then I'm gonna talk to you about how it all went. So let's cut to Angelos in the future. So I just finished streaming. I plugged my MacBook in. Yeah, this is how I charge it, okay? Because it had no battery. And the updates finished installing, I rebooted. And the NVIDIA drivers are fucked up. And if we go over to Drivers Manager, it says that the drivers are actually installed. I've rebooted 5 times. And yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll try removing and then reinstalling the drivers. Maybe that will help. But if it doesn't, then yeah, as you can see, they're installed. But if it doesn't, then maybe the first episode of Distro Dive is a fail. And I don't want that. So, I don't know what I'll do. I'll try everything I can, and if it works, then I'll say that it worked, and you actually see it, technically. I don't know how this will work, actually. If it doesn't, then it didn't. So, we're gonna cut over to the future Angelos, and they will tell us whether or not this worked, and everything's fixed, or if it failed. And I don't want to fail because I love Linux Mint. And just like that, 2 weeks, basically 3 actually, are up. So, it's finally time to talk about my time with Linux Mint 21.3. And oh boy, I have a lot of stuff to talk about. So, let me start by saying that I love Linux Mint. Linux Mint is like my second favorite Linux distro. If I wasn't using Silverblue right now, I would be using Linux Mint. And whenever someone wants to join the Penguin army, I always say that, hey, you should probably try Linux Mint to get started with. It's amazing for beginners, and it's amazing for even the more experienced users. So, needless to say that I wasn't really expecting that outcome. So, as you saw on this little last clip, after finishing the stream and configuring my desktop, I decided to update the system and give it a reboot. Now, I updated after having already rebooted into the fish shell, so this wasn't an issue, it worked perfectly fine. But after updating, I waited like 2 or 3 minutes after the update finished, and I rebooted my system, and it didn't boot. I'm not sure what happened. I was getting a ton of errors. I restarted again, and this time it booted, but no video drivers were working, and not even the default like Nuveu open source NVIDIA drivers. I was getting a super small resolution, and I'm not sure why that was happening. I restarted over 5 times, and at the end of the day I just removed the drivers that I installed, and I installed the recommended ones, which were a little bit older, and this fixed the issue. So I did not give up, I just continued on. So that day I kept using Linux Mint, I watched some YouTube videos, some Disney Plus shows, especially Futurama, and everything was working perfectly fine. And that continued happening for around a week. During that week, I experienced some lag spikes every like couple of hours. Probably, like when I was trying to watch a YouTube video and open the Nemo file manager and also copy some stuff over from an external hard drive and do some other stuff, my desktop would completely freeze for a couple of seconds and then it would come back always. But I didn't really think a lot about it. Maybe it has to do with my external SSD, which I don't think it does because I've never had that issue with any other Linux distro or even Windows. But anyway, then Wednesday, the 10th of July came around and I went live again on Distro Dive Vault, and that wasn't a good experience, not at all. So I had configured OBS basically exactly like I have it right now. I have my camera, I have a desktop, and I have my microphone, my desktop audio, and basically I have my desktop audio a few decibels lower than my microphone, which also has a gain filter on top and a normalized filter so that, you know, you can hear me properly. This wasn't the case for Linux Mint. I added those same filters, I recorded, everything was fine, and I went live. Yeah, perfect. I played some Balloons TD6, and I finished the stream, went back to, you know, take a look at it, and you couldn't hear my voice for some reason. My microphone's volume was basically non-existent, and then the game's audio was so loud that it would literally give me a headache listening back to it because I would just hear the balloons popping. At first I thought that, hey, maybe I can fix it with editing, so I waited 48 hours for the stream to be processed by YouTube. I downloaded it, launched DaVinci Resolve on Linux Mint, started editing, and I could not. No, it was ruined. So I decided to go forwards with it, just add a disclaimer near the start, I would talk about it here, and I would just post the video like that. So I finished editing, everything was fine, had no issues whatsoever with distractions track once again. I went to export the video using my custom preset, everything worked perfectly fine. The final video was a bit over 20 minutes and around 55 gigabytes. It was a .mov file. I previewed it, everything was fine, and then I wanted to transcode it using Handbrake, which is a software that I've been using for 5 years now or something. It just works perfectly fine every single time, so I download it, I put the file in, I select my presets once again, and I hit transcode. So it went all the way up to 1%, it would say 7 hours remaining or something, which is, what? But anyway, I was like, okay, let it there for a few minutes, maybe it will sort itself out. And I came back around 10 minutes later, still there. I tried moving my mouse, and the screen goes black, and I get a little blinking light on the top left, you know. I'm like, that's not good. I went ahead and selected Ctrl Alt F1 through F4, but I couldn't get into TTY. I'm like, maybe it crashed. So reset my PC, booted through the, you know, Ubuntu bootloader, the grub, and it did not boot. I would get the same issue. So I have no idea why that happened. In case you were wondering, the final size was estimating to about 600 megabytes, and I had over 100 gigabytes left on my SSD, so I'm not sure what happened there. It's not that I ran out of space or anything, and my computer still works perfectly fine. I'm currently on my Silverblue, and I've been here since then. Everything worked fine. I was able to rescue the final video, and I wanted to transcode it on Fedora, and I would input it, change all my presets and stuff, start transcoding, and immediately, not even like a minute later, I would get that all my encodes have finished. I have 0 completed and 1 failed. So it would fail without any error messages or anything. So I'm not sure what exactly was going on with that video, but I know that I've never had this issue before in my life. Never. And I've edited videos using cked Live, so I know what pain feels like when editing, but still, never had this issue before. So that was when I stopped using Linux Mint, and needless to say, I was extremely disappointed. I'm not sure what happened there, but I wouldn't like that happening on my Fedora, on my main production machine. Now, I am in a fortunate scenario where I have my MacBook over here, which I would be able to use in case something like that was to happen on Fedora. But still, I have over 4 terabytes of data over here, so yeah, good thing that I didn't format everything. Also, another weird thing that happened with Linux Mint is that I selected to install the bootloader on the SSD that I was doing the installation on. And I have video proof of that, as you just saw a few minutes ago. But for some reason, it didn't do that. When I rebooted, looking back at the video, it said Ubuntu over at Intenso PCIe, and that is the main M.2 SSD that Fedora is installed on. So it once again wiped the original grub that Fedora installed, and I figured that out because I could not boot Fedora unless I went through Ubuntu. So I'm not really sure what happened there. And to be honest, because I don't want to deal with that again, I'll probably just reinstall again. But maybe this time I'll go with Kinoid, because, you know, I haven't used Plasma in 3 years. But nah, I love my GNOME. So, with the dive coming to an end, I must say that I was really disappointed by Linux Mint. And I'm not sure what went wrong, basically. I know that I haven't done anything wrong, I just configured it to my likings. All the settings that I changed are actually recorded, and you just saw them. I never went back into the settings manager, ever. I just installed Steam using, you know, the software center, which worked perfectly fine. And then that's about it. I just went live. Now, during my whole dive with Linux Mint, I would get some applications crashes, especially Firefox, but hey, that might again have to do with my SSD and the whole hanging of the system. Probably not, but you never know, so I'm not gonna say that that's a Linux Mint issue. But yeah, overall I was really disappointed with it, and I don't want that because I love Linux Mint and I still do. I think that it's one of the best Linux distros of all time. So I was postponing recording this final part for around a week since the last time that I used it, because I had no idea what I want to say. Do I want to say that it was good? Do I want to say that it was bad? I don't know. I would be honest, obviously I would say everything, but I don't know whether I should keep it as my number 2 or push it over for a more favorable distro that I actually like to take its place as number 2. And after a lot of thinking, and I mean a lot, I'm not sure if I want to move Linux Mint from my number 2 position, but what I'll do is that I'll make Linux Mint share the number 2 position of my list with another Linux distro, or shall I say another family of distros. And that is MX Linux. I know I haven't really talked a lot about MX on this channel, but yeah. Now, the only time that I've ever talked about MX Linux on the internet was when I was doing the initial week series, and I took a look at MX Linux cked edition, which was a beta back then. Maybe it wasn't during initial week, but anyway. And I don't think that I was really surprised, or I didn't really like it. But now I actually started using it on a very underpowered laptop that I have, and another family's member laptop and everything, and I am so surprised by it. Everything just works perfectly out of the box, and it has a million tools. It's basically if a sysadmin developed a Linux distro. It has GUI tools for everything, and also the repositories are amazing. They include a ton more packages, and they have some updated packages and all that. Like for that family member, I really had to install Play on Linux because of certain solitaire that they're playing. and Debian would not allow me to install it. It would complain about some unmet dependencies with Python 2 and stuff, and after a month of trying to figure that out, I decided to install MX Linux, which didn't work. That's why I say that I'm sharing the position 2 between another family of Linux distros, and that family is the Antix family of distros. So Antix, MX Linux is basically Antix just with the XFC desktop. And yeah, I installed Antix, everything worked out of the box, Play on Linux was on the actual repository, so everything went perfectly well. And also Antix is developed by, I think, a Greek guy, so yeah, overall, Antix and MX and all the Antix family of distros, which I think there are only 2, right? I'm not sure on that. But yeah, they're amazing, you should use them. Linux Mint, I was really disappointed, but hey, we'll get Linux Mint 22 in around a week from the time you're watching this. Maybe it's even out, I don't know, probably not. But hey, maybe it will be good again then. Maybe some of those issues will be fixed now that they'll include the more up-to-date kernel. Maybe that had to do with it actually, I don't know. But yeah, overall, really disappointed actually with Linux Mint. And before you go to the comments and start saying that, oh, maybe DaVinci Resolve isn't working well with Linux, no! I've been using DaVinci Resolve on Linux for over 4 years or something, ever since I started on Linux. Even though my actual videos were edited using Kdenlive or the Olive video editor, I would use DaVinci Resolve on the side for some schoolwork. So it was working perfectly fine, and it still is, not on Fedora because it's broken, but it was working perfectly fine. And what I found out a few weeks ago is that it works better than on macOS. On macOS Sonoma 14.5, DaVinci Resolve is laggy, extremely laggy even on my M3 Pro. So yeah, now Final Cut Pro blows it out of the park, but DaVinci Resolve is super slow. And so yeah, with that, Distro Dive episode 1, Linux Mint 21.3 comes to an end. Really weird stuff. Maybe I did something wrong. You can go down in the comments and tell me about it. I hope that you really enjoyed it. This is a weird first episode, you know, it's my first time doing it, so it will evolve into something better in the future, I hope. So, if you don't want to miss anything, be sure to follow Distro Dive over on Instagram to know about what I'm doing and to be informed when a new dive is announced. Also, you can head over to my website, it will be in my channel bio, Distro Dive, in order to, you know, do the same thing without using Instagram. And also, if you want, you can follow me, Angelos, on all social media and on YouTube, Papa's Films and all that. So, yeah. And with that, the series' first episode, the pilot, comes to an end, and I still haven't thought of an actual outro to use. Adios!